This is a video about making a poem with a group of students. It's for use in teaching, or you can use it on your own. It's especially about making a poem in a multilingual, multicultural environment, and it's sponsored by the Oxford University Creative Multilingualism project, which in turn is sponsored by the Open World Research Initiative. It comes from a school with nearly 50 languages, and we've assembled a lovely selection of students here. This school is Oxford Spires Academy. It's a school to the east of the city, and I'm Kate Clancy. I'm the writer in residence at Oxford Spires, and I've been doing that job for nearly 8 years. And this is an exercise I've been using quite often, which builds on the idea of using concrete and abstract, and works on the principle of helping students to keep their poems concrete, to keep their real images and real experiences coming into poems, because there's a tendency, and that's especially with new speakers of the language, to move away from your own experience, not to want to talk about your own experience, and also to use abstract, big, grand, poetic, abstract words instead of concrete, earthy, real experiences. And if you can move students towards using the earthy, real experiences, then you have a better poem, and also a more sincere poem, a poem that they're able to value more for themselves. So this exercise focuses on a wonderful poem by the poet Edip Cansever, who is Turkish, a great Turkish poet. So what we're going to do is another of the things I believe is that poems come from poems. And I very often start off my workshops by giving people an inspirational poem, and then they're magically empowered to write their own. This is one of my favourite and most magical poems. You listening carefully?
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of my favourite and most magical poems, and it's written by a Turkish poet called Edip Cansever. So the first thing to do with an exercise like this is to read and enjoy and absorb the poem. I'd always take quite a bit of time over this. The table. A man filled with the gladness of living put his keys on the table, put flowers in a copper bowl there. He put his eggs and milk on the table. He put there the light that came in through the window, sounds of a bicycle, sound of a spinning wheel. The softness of bread and weather he put there. So let's have a look at the things he's put there. So he's come home. He's come home. So when you come home to your house, where do you sit down usually?
The table. The couch.
The couch?
Yeah, the couch.
Yeah, by the table. And where do you put your bag?
On the table.
On the table. You put it on the table, do you?
On the floor.
On the floor.
Yeah.
Who goes straight up to their bedroom and shuts the door so their mum can't come in? There we go, yeah.
No, I just leave it in the bed.
And you put everything on the bed?
I just blast music.
No, I put my bag in the cupboard under the stairs.
So there's all kinds of things can go in those cupboards. Right, let's just hold that place there, all those the places we put. This man's come back. He's put his keys down. You know that noise when your mum puts the keys on the table. And then there are some nicer things. He's put flowers in a copper bowl, so he's bought some flowers. Do you understand all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep listening and understanding, Hamid. He's done the shopping. He puts his egg and milk on the table.
Yeah.
Those are all real things. Can you see something strange about the next line?
Twice.
He put there the light that came in through the window. What's the problem with putting the light from the window on the table?
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't
do that.
But you can in your imagination.
Well, no, you can actually, because you can get the light to shine onto your table.
And he's putting it there in his mind. But what about the next thing? Sound of a bicycle, sound of a spinning wheel.
You can get your phone.
Yeah, I like that noise. I think it's. Do you know? Yeah, let's stop seeing that right now. It's getting a bit boring. So he's putting down the sound of the spinning wheel. I think that's how he got there. So when you come in and you sit down and there's still an echo in your mind of how you got there. What's happened? That's the sound of the day. So he's putting down on the table things that you can't touch. He starts with the real things, and he starts piling on the unreal things. The softness of bread and weather.
No, he's eaten some soft bread. Soft weather. What do you think that means?
Nice weather.
Nice when the wind is
Sky.
calm. Yeah, kind
Fresh
sky.
weather. I know.
Hmm?
Fresh weather.
Fresh weather. That's a lovely way of putting it. Yeah. Like, no, today's not soft, is it? It's too. Today's heavy weather. Yeah. But soft weather. Yeah.
It's really cold today.
Mhm.
It's nice in here.
Yep. Here are some other things he puts on. On the table, the man put things that happened in his mind. What he wanted to do in life.
He won't love.
Games, boxing.
Yeah.
He's
But he
lovely.
didn't.
Sorry? Yeah,
Why he did it?
you're very good at poems, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
The things he wanted to do but didn't quite yet.
Yeah.
Things that he didn't. He's put them on the table. Those he loved, those he didn't love.
He loved.
People he loved.
Yeah.
And then a few people he hates. You know, you always bring them home with you as well. Yeah?
Hate.
You come home at the end of the day and you bring home the people you like. You also bring home some of the people you hate.
Why you
And some of them live in your mind. Some of them you haven't seen for years, but they're still in your mind, people you don't like. And then he's put some numbers down. 3 times 3 make 9. You've got some chemistry in your head at the moment. Put it down on the table. Yeah. Put some maths down on the table. You're all right to concentrate. Working hard to do it. That's right. Okay. He was next to the window, next to the sky. He reached out and placed on the table endlessness. So that means, do you know what that means? Infinity.
Yeah.
So it's without end. Do you understand that word?
Stop.
So it's the quality of there being no end to it. So when you look at the sky, it goes on and on and on and on and
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's putting that idea on the table. So
Was just
yeah, doesn't
you
finish.
know.
Is that a big idea or a small idea?
Like a number.
Like a number?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a number that doesn't finish. It's
Big
the sky.
numbers and
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't finish. So he puts all that on the table. So the table is getting quite crowded, do you think? Yeah, it's got the sky on it now.
Yeah.
And everyone he doesn't love, and all his sums. But he's not finished. So many days he'd wanted to drink a beer. He put on the table the pouring of that beer. So it's not a real beer,
It's not easy.
it's an imaginary one. So when you come home today, what are you wanting to drink right now?
Milk.
Yeah?
Milk.
Is it milk? Water?
Yeah.
Juice.
Lemonade.
Very cold? Yeah?
Easy.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
And so you come home at the end of the day and you put down that imagination. Can you hear it coming into the jug? What's
Yeah.
it do? Fizz, 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 pop.
Yeah.
Yeah? You come home at the end of the day and you put that wanting down on the table.
So a wonderful combination of the concrete and the abstract, the real things like the bag and the shopping, with the memories, because that's the sound of the bicycle. He didn't really come in with that. That's a real sound, but he couldn't literally bring it in his shopping bag. And it mounts itself very, very slowly to the big abstractions, the things he's always wanted in life, the things he hasn't got. You can't, if he started the poem with those things, it would have been half the poem it is. And the trick of getting a really good poem out of students is to get them to follow that pattern and to start with the things which are small. So the first thing to do is to choose your own place. Where do you come home to? So it might be your bedroom, it might be your hallway, it might be a peg where you hang up your coat at the end of the day, it might be your bed, top of the bunk bed, it might be the family sofa, it might be the surface in the kitchen. Where's your place that you just drop things down? And the other thing to think about is who you're going to be in this poem. It's quite cunning the way this poem says a man. It probably is the poet, but if you step away for yourself and let yourself be in the third person, it can give the young writer a little bit more space. So encourage them to say a girl coming home or a boy coming home. They might like to write from the point of view of their mum or their dad, or just, an abstracted businessman or something. That quite often that has quite an interesting route. It just gives them a little bit more space to do something a little bit more unusual. So who's coming home? Where are they coming home to? Now you start putting stuff down. Very important to start with the real stuff. You put down your bag, put down your phone, you put down your pencil case, you put down your shopping, you put down your jumper, your school uniform, put down your shoes. If it's a dad, put down your briefcase, put down the things at the end of the day. Now, what about a memory from the day? Sound of a bicycle, sound of a spinning wheel. What about some things that have happened to you during the day? Put down the sound of a teacher shouting. Put down the sound of the school bell. Put down the sound maybe of an argument you had in the street. Put down a memory, maybe a further back memory if you like. Put down a memory you've been carrying around all day of your home country. What about a sound or a smell? That the softness of bread and weather is a very specific thing. Softness. What about a feeling? What about the feeling of the weather? Can you put down the storm? Can you put down the rain? Can you put down the sunshine on your back? Make it very, very specific. Smells are great. Put down the smell of Thai curry that you've been carrying around top of your head all day long. What about a little number or a little problem? He's got a little sum in his head in his poem. 3 times 9 makes 3 times 3 makes 9. Is there a little formula from chemistry they've been carrying around all day? A little problem from history, a little question. What are the causes of the First World War? Do you want to put those down? Is there a headline from the newspaper you want to put down? Someone else's word, a little formula that maybe you'd like to put down. What about a song? Are there some words of a song humming around your head you'd like to put down? Chorus of a song? Now's the time to put it down on your sofa or your peg. What about a desire? He wants a beer, the man in the poem. What have you been wanting all day long? You've been hot, you've been cold. You want to jump into a lake? Do you want to have a cold Coca-Cola? Have you been missing your mum? What's the thing you've been wanting? You put that down. And once you've got those things down, once you've got the small things down, then you'll be able to put the big things down. So at the end of the poem, you need to put down your big abstraction.
And then we can get some really big things. Endlessness, the sky. Maybe something you really, really want, the pouring of a beer, that lemonade you've been wanting all day. Put those things on the table, the big things. This is where you can put world peace, hope for Syria, and a whole fig tree, all for my very own, all on the table. The things that you really want. If you want a whole courtyard in Damascus to be delivered and put on the table, now is the time to do it. If you want the top of a freezing mountain in Afghanistan with a fresh wind blowing over you, Seaman, you put that on your table.
And because that's got quite big, cunningly, what about addressing your peg, your sofa, your bed at that point? Making it concrete again, making it real again. Now that's what I call a table. What a magnificent peg. We must congratulate the sofa. What about talking to your object right at the end so that from being quite big, it can become quite concrete again, so we don't go too abstract off into the clouds, we go back in.
So I'm just going to explain what garmi means. It's a word in Farsi in my language, and it means heat.
Does it mean a special sort of heat, like the heat of today?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
just
really
really
summer
hot.
heat,
Yeah.
intense heat.
Should I start now?
Yes.
A girl who was filled with garmi threw her coat across the room, put her books in her shelf, put her jumper on the peg, putting down all the homework, put down a sigh of relief, put down the sweat, put down the noise, the feeling of her shirt sticking to her, the heat burdening her body. So many days she wanted to be a lawyer, putting the people whom she loves, who she doesn't, the catchy phrases, the verse of that song, the line of the chorus, the sadness and happiness. That's what I call a true friend of a room. It didn't say a peep, maybe a squeak, but it stopped. I'm so grateful. My best friend, my best mate is my room. The girl carried on placing more and more.
That's lovely. Yay.
Seaman's poem is very charming, very much the young girl that she is. Ulfat's poem, Ulfat, interestingly, several years older, one of the things that we see coming through in Ulfat's poem is her language, her home language that she hardly ever gets to use in school. And it's clearly something that she carries around, and given the opportunity to open it up, we can hear it bubbling up in her poem.
A girl filled with despair of science puts her books on the floor, puts down a pen on the floor. She puts her bag there. She puts the murmurs of chemistry that were scribbled between the lines, sounds of rustling, sounds of relief. The rapid beating of her heart she puts there. On the table, the girl put the memories of her home country. Sea waves pulsing to and fro, the salty tang of the seawater. She put that there. The piercing heat, the taste of mchungu. She put that there. The vibrant shouts of Njo Kula, the touch of the mpaka. She put the mpaka there. That's all I have.
Oh, isn't that beautiful though?
Yeah, what's the mpaka? What does that mean?
You could
Huh?
understand, couldn't you?
Nukula, does that mean crab?
Huh?
What does it mean? Nukula, what does it mean? Oh, that's cool.
I'm sure you're fine. Okay. Isn't that beautiful though?
Yeah.
Just enjoy it, it's beautiful. And you can
done,
imagine her
Alpha.
country, can't you? That's really, really lovely. Your change of rhythm is also very composed, and the way your language kind of comes bursting out is genuinely really good. Tell it, it's really good, Zimmerkang.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very, what's the word? It's like a dress, the flowy dresses in summertime.
And then,
It's just so fluid and
but also quite strong.
Yeah.
Strong. It's really something. You should be really pleased.
it's really pretty.
Mukahang's poem is written straight into English. Mukahang's a very accomplished poet and very experienced one as well. But his first language is Nepalese, and we can hear some of that Nepalese coming through. And we can also hear, as Mukahang gets older, the exoticism of his images becomes more freer. There's something very oriental in the way that he'll put pictures together. This is a very sophisticated poem.
A boy filled with the heat of good night puts his bruises on the table. He puts the brushes and pens of the blues and green on the table. He puts the press of palms on the table. A breath of fear fills a pint. He put that on the table. He puts the sound of thumbs cut on envelopes that falls like a kiss through their skin. He puts their lips on the table. He puts the dry wetness of napalm on the table. He puts a song of sweat that sticks to the sheets on the table. On the table, the boy puts the moon he pulled from his dreams. Namaste, Merutora, he puts that on the table. So much of the time, he puts the leftover scraps of seconds on the table. He puts the shade of sunset, their warmth, and their cold they bring when they leave.
Amina wrote in Arabic and then translated into English.
عنوان الشعر المرأة الحزينة. المرأة كانت في الخارج تشتري بعض الزهور. عندما عادت إلى البيت وضعت الزهور على الطاولة، ثم فتحت نافذة الشباك لكي تدخل الشمس على الزهور. بعدها جلست على السرير وهي تنظر إلى الزهور وتقول: كم أنت جميلة ذات الألوان الرائعة. وفجأة ظهرت الشمس على الزهور، والمرأة تنظر إلى الزهور وهي تتفتح وتفوح رائحة الزهور وتقول: ليت حياتي مثلك، لأن الناس يحبونك ولا أحد يكرهك، يكره الزهور عندما يراه. ثم وقفت المرأة وهي تبكي وأخذت الزهور إلى الزبالة وتقول: أنا لم أعد مثل ما كنت. Okay, now to explain in English. It's the top of the poem is the woman sad. The woman was go to buy some flour, and then when she come back to home, she put it on the table, and then she opened the door. Open the window. Because when you open the window, the sun come on the flower. And then the woman go to sit on the bed, and she to look the flower, and said, you are it's very beautiful, the color. And then when the sun coming on the flower, and when the sun come in and go to flower, the flower it's and the woman looked the flower how it's open, and it smell the flower, and then a woman said, I hope my love save your life, because all people like
like you, and nobody hit flower. And then women stand up, and he cry, and she take the flower to rubbish and said, "My love not come back, same wasn't, same when."
She looks at
Yeah.
the flower and the light, and the flower and the light is blossoming, and she smells it, and that's like herself and her
Yeah.
youth. And then she stands up, and we see that she's grey,
Yeah,
and the flower is dead, and she puts it in the rubbish. So it's about her life goes by in a minute.
yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
deep. So that it's all, you get this, so that she looks at the flower, and the flower is also a metaphor, it's also about her life.
So, in summary, the table exercise is all about concrete and abstract. And it's about getting students to find a beautiful frame, a gorgeous poem, that they can make a journey from their real experience into the big abstractions that bother them in a way that allows those things to carry on being real. It's a gorgeous poem. It doesn't matter how many different versions of it you make. It always turns out well. So for this exercise, you read through the poem and you talk about a place that's important to the student, that they put things down, their peg, their bed, their sofa. Talk about who they want to be in that poem, because it's in the third person. You're going to be a man, a boy, a girl, a businesswoman, a nurse. Who's going to be doing the putting down? And then you take a journey through the real things, the concrete things like the shopping, through the things which are very near to your experience, like the sounds and smells of the day, all the way to the big abstraction. And then very often it helps the poem if you talk back to the object and say, "I congratulate you, Peg," or "What a fantastic sofa," because that roots it back in the concrete. So that's great, and happy writing.